think we're on. I think we're on.
We're on for the first closets and cocktails?
Yeah. Yeah, so look.
Okay.
Alrighty.
Oh, a little delay.
A little delay. But that's yours. That's your phone. Alright.
Cheers.
Hey Birdie, how you doing?
I'm great.
Alrighty.
Let's see. You did pretty good.
He did very well. He did very well.
The drink of the day is espresso martinis.
Yes.
Very good.
Is this a good for the morning drink and a good for the afternoon drink and a good for the evening drink?
I'm a lightweight, so it is a good for the evening drink. But when it's cold outside, the espresso coffee.
That's true.
It's evening.
It warms you up a little bit?
It does.
Okay. Well, yeah, and I mean, I live out in the country, and so I always think that it's at least 10 degrees colder out there than it is down here.
Really?
Yeah. Not as much stuff blocking.
No, that's true.
Right? The wind. I think the wind whips are harder out there.
Although I think these glass windows let in some cold.
Well, the other thing we haven't talked about too is, I got a fresh haircut for this today. It was an 1/8 of an inch too long, so I had to take it down. Couldn't take it anymore.
1/8 of an inch.
1/8 of an inch.
It's
Yeah.
a little OCD, John.
You know what though? I've been going on closet install jobs here lately, and when the dust gets in there, I just can't do it.
Really?
Yeah, for whatever reason, I can feel it.
Okay. The next step is fold.
Well, yeah. People tell me that when they shave their head, it's a choice.
Oh,
right?
Yes, yes.
But see, this is still a choice. I just know what the other result looks like, and I'm not willing to do that to April right now. So
Not ready.
no, not at all. Okay, so that was a great introduction and welcome here. And yeah, as Birdie said, this is going to be the first installment in a series that we're just going to title Closets and Cocktails.
Yes.
And
Two of my favorite subjects.
I believe it. In what order?
Oh, closets come first.
Okay, fair enough. Does a lightweight play into that too?
Probably.
Okay. All right. So closets and cocktails, and from our perspective, Birdie's been doing this a long time. It has a wealth of information to share with people, and it should just be fun, right?
Fun.
And I'm learning a little bit more about this as I go on closet install jobs. You don't walk into a person's house to install a closet, whatever it is, a pantry,
Wall bed.
Something in their home office, whatever it is. They're not angry.
Oh, no.
They're always
They're
happy.
excited.
Yes, they're always excited, always happy. So I think it's important for us to have fun and just kind of talk and share some of that knowledge that spills out of that.
Okay. I like it.
Okay.
Organizing is a passion, and that's where the closet started, just with me organizing.
Okay. Well, let's walk that back. How long have you been organizing?
Since, with my company, 2001.
Okay. So, what date in 2001? Do you remember the date?
I started in January,
Oh my.
but I had foundation in place, but I hadn't advertised it. I hadn't really hit the ground running until I went to Austin for my first conference for the National Association of Professional Organizers.
NAPO.
NAPO. I went there in the spring, I don't know what month, but when I went there, I knew I was where I should be. So I came home, I had already had the business phone line, I had brochures, I had business cards. I hit the ground running then.
So this is 20th anniversary.
It is.
Wow, I did not know that.
Yes.
Until about 20 seconds ago. All right, well that's exciting news.
Yeah.
And so you did organizing for a long time.
I did.
And so Any good past experiences or stories or clients that just kind of like, yes, this is what I was meant to do?
So many. One quick one was that an older gentleman called me, and he wanted me to organize the papers that had been on his desk.
Okay.
They weren't on his desk anymore because every time his desk filled, he just would empty them into a banker's box.
Oh, okay.
So then he had about 10 banker's boxes, which was fine for him until he needed something.
Oh.
And when he needed something, he took all those banker's boxes home and started emptying them on the dining room table. And his wife said, no. So he called me, and he took them back to the office. I worked in his office, and he said to me, after just the first consultation, he felt so young and so light that he could do a cartwheel.
Huh?
And I mean, we become fast friends with so many of our clients because they're just great people and happy, and it's a personal service.
Yeah.
So you really get to know people.
Well, you're going into people's homes.
Yes.
Yeah. So this is a tangent, but a couple weeks ago, you guys came out and did my kids' closets, and my kids weren't there at the time, but when they got there, they walked up to their rooms, they wanted to see what was going on, and just with the installers, fast friends right away, no problems whatsoever.
We hear that all the time, and that just makes us so happy.
Yeah.
The installers are professional, go above and beyond, do things that the homeowner didn't expect, and leave it clean, ready for them to put their stuff in.
So we're talking about closets now. We've already jumped ahead. How many years at this point in time?
Well, I started by doing just closets for my clients, my organizing clients, because there was a need. And I always went to the organizing conferences, so they had expos, and they would have vendors.
Okay.
So I signed up with this one vendor. I just liked their product. Signed up with that vendor, and came home when the need arose with my clients. John and I would design and install their closet.
Okay.
And that was happening more and more, so I saw the need for closets, so we ramped up just the closet side of the business.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so how many years is that now?
15, 16.
Oh, geez. Okay.
Yeah. We just didn't do many, but
And
we did them when there was the need.
When there was a need.
Yeah.
And now that is a majority.
It is.
A majority of the business.
It is.
And it's really not, we lump a lot of stuff into closets, but it's not just closets.
No, garages, pantries, wall bed,
Wall beds.
mud rooms, home offices, basement storage.
Yeah.
Just
Okay.
anywhere. I feel like being in people's homes and starting as an organized person and a professional organizer, we just see the spaces differently. I work with an interior designer a lot, and she just always says I'm the best tool in her toolbox because I can see storage in places where other people don't.
Yeah. It always comes down to people.
Yeah.
People and skill sets. Well, I think we have a good foundation for who Birdie Brennan is, and how the organizing has kind of evolved into closets and some of the strengths that you bring to it. And I think it's important just to start there, right?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
you can Google organizing, and you can Google closets, and you can get a laundry list of things going on.
Yes.
But it is the people behind the business that lend credibility and legitimacy to it going forward. Before we get too far down this path, we will provide the drink recipe
Yes.
at the end of this. So
it's very yummy,
it is, and you're ahead of me right now,
which is surprising.
which is, you've been talking more than I have though.
Okay.
Yeah?
I don't know.
Okay. So anyway, we'll provide that to you, and again, we want to make this a community. We want people to join in and have fun and ask questions, and so.
Yeah, ask organizing questions.
Yeah, absolutely. So the topic that we wanted to talk about tonight, and something that I think a lot of people are experiencing, and I was telling you before we started the cameras rolling today, it's just that home office. And I'm going to come to it from a personal perspective, but I think everybody's going to do that, right? And
Right.
we'll probably have some shared experiences, but there's going to be some unique variables to every person. I have been standing in the same spot since March 9th, and it's looked different. I started out at a desk with a laptop, with this laptop, and quickly realized that with a wife who's a teacher upstairs, with one 12-year-old twin boy 20 feet from me, with another 12-year-old twin boy, let's see, maybe he was 30 feet in this direction, and then a 9-year-old boy upstairs working in there, I just couldn't do it in that setup. And so it evolved. I have a stand-up desk now. I have the dual monitors. But it's, from a storage perspective, from an organization perspective, it's not. You'd be embarrassed if you come over and look at it. But
no judgment here.
But like, I feel like I know where everything is, right?
That's being organized.
But if you want me to find it in a timely fashion when I'm on a Zoom call, probably not going to happen.
That's not organized.
Right? Like you'll hit the hide video, bend down, grab some stuff, come back up, hopefully you have it. Go ahead.
So how long did it take you to get to where you are now? Was it steps along the way? I need this, I need that?
I made the quick first iteration to go from a sit-down desk to a stand-up desk within the first 2 weeks.
Okay.
I just could, I move a lot anyway, and so I couldn't sit there. And it's also the dynamic of my kids' school started at 8 o'clock in the morning, and so you go to this one, to this one, to that one, and and my day doesn't really start till 11. And naturally, they're going to be teenage boys here soon, so making sure they're actually doing their schoolwork or attending class, you got to keep checking in on them. And so it wasn't good for me to sit down and have to constantly up and down, up and down, up and down. Now, I will also tell you from an organization perspective, it's one of those stand-up desks, so I have different levels, and I can make my notes, and I can do different things, and I feel like I work well here, but I think it also depends on the meeting.
Yeah. Well, and there are tools, too, literature sorters,
yeah,
all kinds of things that you can add in to help with that organization.
Yeah. So, what does your home office look like?
My home office is organized, lots of labels.
Okay.
I use a product from IKEA that's a literature sorter that just divides out all the categories of projects that I'm doing. But I don't ever sit in there. I go in and I get what project I'm working on, bring it out, and sit at the island usually.
Okay.
Yeah, I think in the beginning people were just making do.
Yeah.
They were thrown into that,
Yeah.
working from home, they're just making do. And now they're realizing, or they've realized it along the way, that it doesn't work.
Mm-hmm.
They need more organizational tools, they need more space. Sometimes they're going to their office and they're bringing more stuff home. So they need to create homes for all those things.
Yes. And we're gonna touch on a couple different topics that I think or problem areas maybe that people experience with this, but it's the need to be changing and dynamic inside of that workplace. If you're working from home, well, let me say this is, I think everybody was in bed on a laptop working until 10 o'clock at night across the board, which is not healthy. By the way.
No.
And I'm a morning person, so at 5:30 I can be up and I can be ready to go and work by 5:45. But if I'm not taking breaks and I'm working till late at night, it's not a healthy dynamic.
No. And I feel like companies originally thought they were going to lose productivity, and I think they found that productivity has increased.
Yeah.
But the life balance at home is bad.
Yeah. So, well, that's the problem.
It is a
right?
problem.
So we've identified a lot of the issues that we've experienced, or that a lot of people that are experiencing, and whether it's kids, whether it's dogs, whether it's your boss is making sure your video's on. I don't know. We've identified a lot of areas where we can go wrong or we've made missteps. But in talking with Birdie, you really focused in on 3 specific areas when it comes to a home office to make it better for you. And that's really focusing on people. We're going to put dogs in that category too. We're going to focus on possessions and just personalizing it. That last piece, personalizing for what you need. Now, we're going to be doing these every other week or so. So let's just focus on the first 2 this evening. Let's talk about people, and then let's talk about possessions. Would you care to start with either one? Anyone?
Just when you have multiple people, so we'll start with people.
Okay.
When you have multiple people sharing a space, you have to respect each other's possessions, what they need, and have a space for your things, not touching the others.
Yeah.
It's tough. A lot of times you also have to define spaces. So do you have a space where you can close the door? If you're on a Zoom call, you don't want the dog or the cat going by you. So a closed door, or you've got kids at home too studying, that when you go on that Zoom call for 20 minutes, is there a place you can put a sign,
Yeah.
on a call? But then everybody has to kind of know the rules. You have to define the space and know the rules.
I think the boundaries part is.
Yeah.
And actually, I don't even know that the boundaries part is that hard of a problem to solve, but you have to talk about it.
You do.
And you've been over to my house. There's no door to an office. It's not an open floor plan, but there's no doors anywhere. And so I was on a call, and it was one of my dogs shook its head. And the other person on the call said, "How big is your dog?" Now, Lucy's got some big ears.
She does.
But
She's a big dog.
Yeah, she is a big dog. But she was nowhere near me, right? Like, she was 30 feet away from me. Now, obviously, the dogs are not going to respect the boundaries.
No.
But, yeah, communication. And even if it's just a signal. And I will tell you, when I use headphones for all my meetings to kind of block out all that other noise, and they're not great headphones, they're just headphones. But when they're on my head, even if they're just like sitting up here, the boys won't walk in. And it says visual cue, where they know that it might be on a meeting.
Okay.
Now, I take advantage of it a little bit, right? And so, like, I'm on
You're
meetings, yes, a lot more than they think I am. But it's just the communication of those visual cues.
And you need that time to do work.
Yeah.
Because if you don't have that cue and they're interrupting you, interruptions, it takes a long time to get back on track when you're interrupted, which is a huge thing when you're at home.
And that goes into like the next topic, and this is general distractions.
Yes.
And it's been a while since you worked in an office.
A really long time.
Yeah, a really long time. But I work at Columbus State. I run the entrepreneurship program there, and whether it's students, whether it's coworkers, whether it's the HVAC not working in the middle of the summer, right? There's always distractions going on, and again, that's not necessarily communicating out. But you do have to set up walls, or you have to set up ways that you can get rid of that distraction.
Or just even your workspace, turn it so your back is to the wall. Oh. So people, when they're walking by, they can't say, "Hey, John," they're not going to stop if they don't see your friendly face. Yeah. So just creating a workspace that's...
My friendly face?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that.
Of course. Yeah, you can do a lot with just positioning where you are.
I didn't even think about that one.
Yeah, and turning chimes off on the computer, turning chimes off on your phone, having a pad of paper on your desk so when you have this bright idea that you don't want to lose, you can jot it on a piece of paper so you'll know it, that you can keep working because you know you're not going to forget that bright idea. That's
good. I hadn't thought about that one.
Yeah.
Okay. And also the positioning of the back to the door, I would have never done that. I would have never thought of it.
It helps with interruptions.
Okay. I'll have to think about that one. Does it work with kids?
No.
I don't think so.
I'm sure it does not.
I mean, they're yelling for me. They can't even see me, so yeah, doesn't matter.
No, it does not matter.
Okay.
But I think the statistic is it like takes 27 minutes to get back on task after an interruption.
Is that right?
I read that one place. I don't know. The statistic might be different now.
But that could also be why we're working till 10 o'clock at night.
Yes. Our oldest daughter came here for a couple months in the summer. And we have an open floor plan.
Yeah.
And she would work, and it would be very difficult for her. And I know, like at 9:15 one night, we turned on the television, and she came out. She's like, "I have one more business call to make. Can you please be quiet?" I was like, "Oh my Lord." So you do need that quiet time that you can concentrate and work.
Yeah.
But then you need to be able to turn it off.
Okay, so some of the things that we're talking about might be a little bit outside of our control.
Yeah.
People, chimes, dogs, UPS guy, whatever it is. Let's talk about some of the things that are in our control when it comes to home offices. And maybe it's just poor intentions or not following through, but do you find that a lot of home offices are well organized?
No. And mostly because, two reasons, I think. One is the person knows how to do it, but they're too busy.
Yeah.
So life is too busy, and they don't take time. You know, there's always something to do, so they're doing that thing that is right in front of their face. Instead of taking 3 hours and organizing their space, that will save them time and money down the road.
Yeah.
They're just doing. The statistic is people spend an hour a day looking for misplaced items. An hour a day.
An hour a day?
That's huge.
Okay.
Huge. So the one type, they know how to do it, they just don't have time.
Mm-hmm.
The second type, they don't know how. You know, their brain just doesn't think like that. So they don't know how.
Let me pause. So, is this just when you look at a tabletop desk? Are you talking about just organizing that, or are you talking about organizing everything?
Everything.
Okay.
Everything. You want to start with what's current, because that's what's most important.
Yeah.
You want to start there. But then when you're done there, you want to keep going. 80% of the paper is the number one problem for everybody. And in the home office, it collects there.
Yeah.
But paper is the number one problem for everybody. It just continually comes in. You've got mail coming in, you've got everything coming in. And you need to think of yourself as a big office and have a retention plan. Because that way, you know, I always say every pile is just unmade decisions. If you don't know what to do with it, you're going to lay it down.
Yeah.
So you want to start with the current stuff, but then you want to keep going. And 80% of the paper, the 80-20 rule applies to everything.
Yeah.
80% of the paper that you keep, you never ever look at again. But what it's doing is it's keeping you from getting to the valuable stuff, the stuff you need to find. You got to sort through all that.
This is your bank box story.
Yeah.
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 Except
I found that check, which was important to him.
Okay. Okay, so it's not just a superficial thing. It can go to a deeper level.
Yes.
And I thought what you said that was interesting was it's keeping us from the important things.
Yes.
And again, we're going to keep going back to productivity, and we're going to keep going back to how we're spending our time. And it's these simple, almost automatic decisions that we make that we're not thinking about, but that are having a big impact on the back end. Fair?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So a little bit about go ahead.
Or not thinking about.
Or not thinking about.
Can't make a decision, just sit it down. I'll think about that later.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I can close my eyes and I can see both sides of the desk, and some papers over here have been sitting there for a while.
You probably haven't made a decision on them.
I think that's part of it. I also think that if I put them over here, it's out of sight because the keyboard's under here, and so then I walk around this way, I never have to look at it. Bad organization. Okay. So So let's say that we can get through all of that, but this should be a COVID specific home office question, and that is just lack of storage, and that comes from a place of we didn't know that we needed this until we needed it.
Right.
So, I don't even know how to phrase it. Are there certain things that people should consider when it comes to storage, when it comes to cabinets, anything?
It depends on what you have and the space you have. And that's where an organizer can help you. But you can also do it yourself. Look at the things that you have, look at the quantity, and then look at your space.
Okay.
You can set up a beautiful home office in a dining room. You can use a buffet. I've helped set people up with offices in their foyer. It doesn't have to be an office. Some people don't have that luxury.
Yeah.
It is like a corner of a bedroom.
Yeah.
But you just need to look at the stuff you have. And there are great products. You can make products out of things you already have. I've used gallon Ziploc bags instead of hanging folders because people didn't want out of sight, out of mind.
Oh.
So in a box with gallon Ziploc bags, just with papers in them instead of filing folders. So lots of different products you can get. And over-the-door shoe holder with just naming the pockets. It doesn't have to be shoes and gloves. It can be a stapler, all the office supplies, and also papers rolled up. This goes to school, this goes to the office, this gets to mail. So you just have to, your papers that you need to keep, once you've gone through them, the papers that you need to keep dictate your categories. You know what they are. So you just have to create a space for those categories. Because you don't want a big old, well, this is a to-do, this is a to-do. Because then anytime you get 10 minutes to do that to-do, what you're doing is going through all those papers. So if you divide that out, these are phone calls I need to make, these are bills I need to pay, these are bills I need to record, these are invitations I need to answer. Then you divide those categories, then when you have 10 minutes to do a to-do, you can do them. You go to that space, whether that's an accordion file, a literature sorter, an over-the-door shoe holder. I mean, there's a plethora of things you can use.
Okay. Good. I like that. And it's also being creative with the space that you have.
Make it that you love it because you're living in it.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Yeah.
That's true.
If it's a paper box that's holding papers, cover it with fabric that you love, or just have your kids decorate it.
Okay.
Just make it so you love it.
That's good.
That helps you use it.
Yeah, that's very true. Okay. So we're getting down to the end of our drinks here, and we have a couple more topics to talk about. The last major one in this people, possessions, personalization part is just a drop zone. Now, I would have normally, I can tell you where the drop zones are at my house. It is the kitchen island, right?
Yes.
As you walk in through the garage, it's basically the first big thing you see, big area. You drop your whatever there, and then you just keep going, right? Don't even think about it, like you said. But the office has become a major drop zone for a lot of people. But it's not the everyday things, right? It's the things that you don't use very often. They just kind of become filler. So for an example, cameras, camera bags, right? Anything dog related gets dropped in the office. And the dog's cage and bed is in the office, so it kind of makes sense. But when you're walking in there, and you don't wear shoes in the house, so you're walking in your bare feet and you step on a half-chewed bone, so it's like, it never works out well. So I find that this drop zone concept has been moving into people's offices.
Okay.
Is that a storage issue? Is that a thinking about it issue? What is that?
I think both. You have to think about it. Think about what's landing in there. And you want to work with as many natural habits as you can to be successful. So, like you said, the dog stuff is ending in there, but the dog crate is in there. So there's a little bit of that makes sense a little bit.
Okay.
So think about it. How can it be better? Can you put a shelf above the dog crate and then put tubs?
Okay.
One for leads, one for snacks, one for treats, I guess. Dog snacks are treats. Maybe.
Recently the dogs have been eating whatever they wanted to, so I think this morning they had pulled pork and kibble or whatever.
They're eating pretty well then.
Yeah, another offshoot of me being at home.
Well, and I think the drop zone could be a whole closet and cocktail segment.
All right.
But you have to think about what's landing there. Does it make sense to have it land there? And if it does, designate a spot for it. Like I said, do a shelf above a crate, have tubs. So you're not seeing 3 individual leads and 17 bags of treats. You're seeing a tub that's labeled. So everybody in the family knows where it goes.
So, all right, let me ask you a question then. Is it feasible in today's day and age where we're working from home to have a home office that is designated that only home office stuff goes in there?
Sure. You have to be disciplined. I mean, and you have to get everything that's in there that doesn't belong out, and then give it a home outside.
So do you think maybe one of the contributing factors about why we're in this situation is just because we did not have the time to plan and think?
Absolutely. Absolutely. You came home. I mean, this is an offshoot, but I can remember on the Sunday when they said no more restaurants or no more salons.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, let's eat. Let's go out to eat right now. Now I forget the question. See, I'm a lightweight.
No, is it feasible to expect our home office to be a dedicated home office space?
It depends on your home, the space you have, and the belongings. But it is possible. You just need to take the things that don't belong there, move them out, but give them a home. Otherwise, they'll just be clutter in another space in your home.
Okay. You beat me.
Last sip.
You beat me. That was good. Okay, so listen, we're probably, I don't know, maybe 30 minutes into it or so.
Oh, exactly.
Little over 30 minutes into it.
Yeah.
We want these to be short. We want these to be informational, educational, but the cocktails will help make it fun. And so we're going to keep having these conversations. We're going to keep bringing topics that you're interested in, that you want to hear more about, organizing closets, anything like that. And hopefully we'll be able to get out to some of your clients' houses too.
Yes.
And see some of the spaces that Birdie Brennan Custom Closets has done over the years. I mean, I will offer my kid's bedroom as a space.
That could be a first.
That's going to be like a whole month-long series that we're going to have to do with that one.
They were very excited about them and very proud of them.
Birdie, they voluntarily took an hour and put away all their stuff.
And they didn't want the closet doors back on.
They did not.
Because they wanted to see them.
They wanted to see it. Now, I took clean clothes up to the twins' room today, and in the drawers that were installed, 5 drawers. I mean, this tall off the ground. There's not one piece of clothes in there. It's
okay. You gotta decide what goes in those drawers.
Yeah. Well, hold on a second.
Maybe
I
label.
don't want to go in the room first of all. So maybe you tell them what to do. But I'm not in the top drawer was drawing stuff. And the second drawer was airsoft guns. And then like it was just a menagerie. I mean, each drawer had its own intended purpose, but there was no. I don't know where their clothes went. That's not your issue though anymore, is it?
Oh hell.
Alrighty. Well, we really appreciate people hanging out, and like I said, we're gonna put the espresso martini recipe up on Instagram and Facebook so people can enjoy it. And we'll come back in about. I did too. We'll come back in a couple weeks, and we want to talk about the personalization.
Okay.
Making that home office your own.
And we did touch on that a little bit.
A little
like
bit.
Kids drawing on your...
Yeah, a little bit.
Making it good. Okay.
But it's
for the next time.
Yeah, and it's just, I mean, there's so many people and so many different stories out there that the personalization is going to be a key part to it.
Absolutely.
So, all right.
Thanks.